Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I create videos and content about toxic, narcissistically abusive relationships. And if you have a question that you would like for me to answer, make sure you send it to Just Ask Matt at MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Again, that is Just Ask Matt at MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Just make sure you keep the email 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and you're also very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. If it's too long, if it's too lengthy, unfortunately, I will not be able to get to it. Also, make sure you hit the bell notification and the subscribe notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos on this channel 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. With all that being said, let's get into today's email. So this email comes from a person who had a narcissist come back and say all the right things in the beginning, do all the right things to be able to win this person's affection back, to be able to move back in. Sounds like they were going through a bit of a breakup and then pulled away again. So let's dive into this email. Let's get into some of these details and break this down for this person. So this email reads, "Hey Matt, why would a narcissist suddenly change into essentially everything you wanted them to be?" So let's put a bookmark there. Because that is something that's very important. It's actually very common with narcissists to, like this person said, suddenly turn into everything that you want them to be. Convincing you and your kids to move in with you, try to get you pregnant, succeed in getting you pregnant, then within a month up and leave. Pay attention to this timeline as well. All of this within a month, right? You hear me saying all the time, slow down, right? When you slow down, boundaries and pace reveals all character. Boundaries plus time reveals all character. When you move quickly, you move past, you ignore red flags. You not only do ignore red flags, but when you speed the pace up, that's the pace of people who are toxic and narcissistic, because they don't want to hold their mask, right? They want to get to the devaluation phase. So let's continue with this email. Within a month, up and leave in a day, had another room already rented, telling you that he was pretending the entire time, telling me what I wanted to hear. This came after finding all the dating apps that he was on, and he swore up and down that he had never had sex with anyone. All words, right? But the actions are saying otherwise, right? So let's get back into this. He says that he was only on there for the compliments with no intentions of meeting anyone. This is one thing I can't seem to make sense of. Why come back? Essentially go all in, then tell you that it was all a lie. I appreciate any insight that you have to offer. So the reason why a narcissist does this is for a handful of reasons. You may have heard me say on this platform that narcissists thrive in chaos. So sometimes narcissists will do anything. We have to remember, narcissists do things for what's called narcissistic supply. They get high, so to speak, off of things like being able to win you back, right? Just to see if they can, just to see if you'll fall for the manipulation, just to see if you'll fall for the gaslighting. They enjoy the chaos. They enjoy the lie. And to see if it works. So, you may have heard me say this before, that it's like an upside down world. It's like a game to them, right? They will lie just to see if you fall for it. This is the reason why sometimes with narcissists, they may lie about something that they don't even really need to lie about, just to see if, the same way that like if you're watching like a video of people pranking, just to see what people's reaction will be, right? Obviously that's in good fun and good humor, right? But when it comes to narcissism, when we're talking about real life events, they want to see if they can just do it just to do it. Let's talk about part 2 though. Why would they want to actually move in, get you pregnant, that sort of thing, right? Part 2 of that is that they think of you as a possession. Well, guess what? If you're pregnant, they know where you're at. They know that it's going to be a much more difficult time for you to date if you're pregnant. If you have a small child, infant and toddler years, guess what? They know where you're at all the time. So they think of you as a possession. And when you have a child, right, and you have to stay in contact, that's number 1. But number 2, when you do have to stay in contact, guess what that means? that means that they can triangulate you with other people a lot easier. So these other people that this person is talking to, guess what? In the beginning, it starts out like, you're nothing like my ex. I'm so glad I met you. You're nothing like my ex, which is probably what he said to you too. Then eventually what happens is that triangulation turns into, whenever they begin to devalue you, it turns into, my ex used to do that to me and I didn't put up with that, right, with them, right? And so what happens is that mode begins to flip, where they change that into comparing you to their ex, but in a negative way, where all of a sudden it gets you to work even harder, right? And so what happens is that, especially since you're pregnant with this child, it's likely that he'll tell the new people that you're crazy, that you got pregnant on purpose, that you all of the typical lies that you hear from narcissists to be able to gain sympathy from someone else, and use this as an excuse to stay in touch with you, and staying in touch with you will use it as a weapon for the next person. So those are all a lot of very common reasons why, right? And so for those of you who are listening who may be in the heart of all of this, one other thing that I wanted to point out is that you mentioned, why would they suddenly change into everything that you wanted to be? There is no such thing as sudden change. All change takes time. All change is difficult. So for those of you who notice that someone suddenly changes into everything that you wanted them to be, what that means is that they were withholding this entire time. They knew what the fuck to do the entire time that the two of you guys were together. So they were intentionally withholding everything that you wanted, and then all of a sudden, boom, they were able to turn it on, right? What is that? That's manipulation. They knew what to do, right? But they saved it. They waited until the right moments to be able to manipulate and to be able to win you back, right? So there's no such thing as sudden change. All change is difficult. All change is hard, right? And so we have to understand that when we begin to see sudden changes, and this person all of a sudden miraculously just is able to just turn it on, right? Without any levels of accountability, without any habit changes, without any changes or structures to the routine, right? We have to understand that we have to begin to recognize that for what it really actually is. Manipulation. This person wants something. You see exactly what happened. As soon as this person got everything that they wanted from this form of manipulation, you saw, boom, they turn right back into the person that you've always known them to be. So thank you very much for writing in. Anyone else who would like to write in, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Make sure you keep that email 2 to 3 paragraphs max. Be very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. If it's too long, if it's too lengthy, unfortunately, I will not be able to get to it. And thank you very much for writing in. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.